On the right of your screens right now, you are seeing visuals. Those are live visuals from outside the home of the late FW De Klerk. Now, his foundation says the family will announce funeral arrangements in due course. De Klerk passed away at home this morning. He's survived by his wife, children and grandchildren. He was 85 years old. Now, to reflect on some of his legacy, I'm joined now by former Presidential Spokesperson Mac Maharaj. Mr. Maharaj, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your patience while we were talking to the National Treasury and the Minister of Finance after the budget speech in Parliament. Now, this, of course, is another big story that we are tracking. We had the very briefly reaction from the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, in remembering FW De Klerk. What is top of mind for you as you reflect on De Klerk's legacy?
Good afternoon to you, Dan. First of all, permit me to convey our condolences to Elita, to Susan, Willem, Jan, and the grandchildren of former President F.W. De Klerk. On hearing the news of his passing away, I am coming to terms with the fact that he's a man of many parts. He helped South Africa to cross the Rubicon into a negotiated future. For that, and as a means of encouraging him, the Nobel.
Oh, we just lost that connection there with Mr. Maharaj. I'm hoping he's back. Mr. Maharaj, there was a short break there in connection with you, but I understand you are connected. You firstly said that he helped South Africa cross the Rubicon into the new dispensation. And secondly, you were making another point about his Nobel Peace Prize.
Secondly, in 1993, he was awarded the Nobel Prize together with President Mandela as a means of encouraging him to proceed along that path. So he has written himself into the history. He has, of course, a long life of an inglorious past carrying out the legacy of his father. But that inglorious past was written off in part by what he did in 1990. So he's a man of many parts. And in particular, I came to realize that when I look at his life, he understood white politics of South Africa. He understood the politics of the National Party so well that he was able to maneuver his way to leadership and carry that National Party into the negotiated process. That required a tremendous understanding. But at the same time, he showed a lack of understanding of the interests and the concerns and the feelings of the black community. So while he helped the National Party to walk over into a negotiated future, he walked out of the government of national unity once the Constitution of 1996 was passed by the Constitutional Assembly and once the Truth and Reconciliation Act was passed by Parliament. In doing so,
yeah, what were the reasons from your time? Why did he take his colleagues and himself out of the government of national unity in 96?
It is because he was able to read the writing on the wall correctly. There was no way that apartheid was going to survive much longer. And the future of South Africa, particularly the future of the white community, depended on South Africa walking out into a future through a negotiated process. The world had already turned its back on South Africa. Even its allies, the United States, has passed the Comprehensive Sanctions Bill despite Reagan's veto. Margaret Thatcher was wavering. The German government was wavering. And so the writing was on the wall. Within the country, the internal uprisings had become unstoppable despite the tightening of the state of emergency. The ANC had emerged to be accepted and perceived to be the leader of the democratic forces calling for change. And that change was inevitable. He read the writing on the wall correctly.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mac Maharaj. Just recalling some things about the late FW De Klerk, that he was a man of many parts. Thank you very much, sir, for your recollections.